This is Barrels and Barrels, a bourbon and baseball podcast, with your hosts, Brandon Spinner and Michael Burns.
And welcome into Barrels and Barrels, a bourbon and baseball podcast. This is our rankings, our power rankings episode, which is exclusive here on YouTube. I am Brandon Spinner alongside my buddy, Michael Burns. Michael, first off, how are you on this day?
Doing pretty good. My shoulder, we had a game tonight, and my shoulder did not. I've had about a week's rest, and I'm kind of sore in my shoulder blade. Not ideal, but I've got 4 days before I have to throw again.
Well, we'll call it the All-Star Break for you. We are to All-Star Break week. We are through week 15. This is our week 15 Power Rankings episode. This is exclusively on YouTube, so this is the only place you're going to find it. Please hit that subscribe button below if you haven't already. We've got more YouTube videos down the pike, whether that is just baseball related, bourbon related, because we are a bourbon and baseball podcast, or bourbon hunting. We just dropped one of those yesterday. Find us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok as well, and we'll soon be on Threads, as we've got to figure that out as well. For our regular podcast, you can watch that right here on YouTube as well. But also, you can find us wherever you stream podcasts, primarily Apple and Spotify, but we're also on Google, iHeart, Amazon, and Stitcher. Please rate us and review us there if you want some more baseball and bourbon talk. So, Michael, we are to the All-Star Break, basically the halfway point through the season. So we're basically doing our halfway through the season power rankings. Any shakeup in your top 10 this week?
I had some movement. Yeah, I definitely had a lot of green, a lot of red on the movement slots of my top 10.
Well, let's jump into it.
Yeah, let's go.
Number 10.
Number 10, I've got the San Francisco Giants falling 3 spots. They're still in my top 10. Let's see, I have my note here of the Giants. I had them at 7 last week. They're falling down in my top 10. They just didn't have the best week.
Yeah, I had them in 9th last week. They fell out of my top 10 all the way down to 17th with a 3-7 in their last 10. My number 10 team is a team that had a very good week, 5-1 this past week. The Toronto Blue Jays reappearing in the top 10. They're up 5 for me from 15 last week.
Man, yeah, I have the Blue Jays down at 14. I thought there was a couple better streaks going. I put a little bit of the records not into place, but yeah, the Blue Jays are the NL East teams are getting closer and closer together.
NL and AL East teams really starting to play much better baseball as of now. And my number 9 team is an NL East team, and that is the Philadelphia Phillies. They're down 1 spot, even though they went 4-2 this week for me. They swept Tampa Bay on the road in Tampa.
Huge.
But then they lost 2 in a row to Miami to close out the break. And I don't think the Miami Marlins are that great of a team. And in fact, I had the Marlins fall out of my top 10 last week, and they're down at 14. So the Phillies fall a spot to 9 for me, still playing good baseball, 48-41. Their run differential, though, only a +9.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I've got the Phillies, big sweep of a series of the Tampa Bay Rays. And then the Marlins aren't a bad team. They have the 4th best record in the majors. And so taking 1 of 2 is not bad, but again, I have them moving up 2 spots from 11 to 9 this week.
So we're both at the Phillies at 9. As far as my 8th team, they are reappearing in the top 10. I know you had them a little higher up last week, but the Los Angeles Dodgers jump up 4 for me, one of the biggest movers of the week. Actually, I had a lot of big movers, but up 4 spots for me. The Los Angeles Dodgers, 51-38, 5-1 in the last 6 games since we last did our rankings. They've won 4 in a row, beating the Angels in the 2-game sweep this past weekend. The Dodgers creeping back up. Overall, one of the better teams in baseball, and they're starting to play again like the Dodgers that we know.
Right. I have the Dodgers further, but I have the Dodgers up at 5.
At 5. So who's your 8th team?
At 8, I have the Cincinnati Reds. I have them moving up 2 spots from 10. They did sweep the Washington Nationals. Not a major, a series 4-game sweep is a major feat, but it was the Washington Nationals. And then they did lose the series to close out the first half to the Brewers, 1-2. I expect the Reds just to keep continuing up my power rankings as we start the second half, as they get pitching, I expect them to trade for pitching, and I think they'll just keep rolling.
All right, so who's your seventh team?
Seventh, this is my biggest decline team, and that's the Arizona Diamondbacks. Really ugly week of being swept by the New York Mets. Not a good ball team, and then taking 2 out of 3 from Pittsburgh. But that series, that's sweep from the Mets really brought them down. They didn't have a very good week. That's the Diamondbacks. That's 7. How about you, Brandon? Who's your 7?
Where'd you have them last week? Where did you have the Diamondbacks last week?
The Diamondbacks I had all the way up at 3 last week behind the Tampa Bay Rays.
That's a huge drop.
Yes.
Yeah. 7th, I have the Houston Astros. They are stagnant. They stay at 7 in my rankings. They had a big series win versus the Texas Rangers early in the week, and then they lost 3 of 4. They lost 3 of 4 to the Seattle Mariners at home, even though they went 4-3 in their 7 games this week. Or did they sweep the Rangers earlier this week?
No, they didn't. They didn't sweep them.
Okay. Wow. For some reason, I have they were 4-3 in this past week and went 1-3 versus Seattle. But Houston staying right at 7 at 6-4 in my rankings. Who's your 6th team?
Yeah, 6. I got another decline team here, and that's the Texas Rangers. They didn't win a series this past week. They lost a series to Boston and then to Washington. I mean, come on. Where's the bats against Washington that we've seen all year?
They haven't won a series in like 2.5 weeks.
Basically, since they faced the Astros,
the White Sox back on June 21st. Yeah,
and then the Astros came to town and showed them what's up. Yeah, Texas needed this All-Star break right here.
I misspoke. The Astros swept the Rockies to begin the week last week, and then they lost 3 of 4 to the Seattle Mariners. I also, in my 6th spot, have the Texas Rangers, 3-7 in their last 10. They're down 3 from me. They were sitting last week in the 3rd spot. So they dropped big time. They're still 52-39, second best run differential in baseball. Very good team, but they're not playing very well at all right now. And I do think that there are some other teams that are playing better baseball, have a better team overall right now as we head into the All-Star break. And that's why I have Texas sliding down to 6th.
Right. And then I mentioned it already in my 5 spot. I've got the Dodgers. They took 3 out of 4 from Pittsburgh to the series sweep, just a short series, 2-game sweep of the Angels, and they are now the NL West first place team. So I have them moving up 3 spots from 8 last week. Yeah,
the Dodgers up in my standings, they were a lot farther down. My 5 team is a team you already talked about, the Cincinnati Reds. I mean, they continuously win series except this one versus the Brewers. But even that, they could have won the game on Sunday. They lost 1-0. Very beautifully pitched game by Wade Miley, shutting out the Reds. But the Reds, man, they continue to just win. And they're playing good baseball. Ellie De La Cruz, electric, stealing home on Saturday. They're 7-3 in their last 10, 50-41. If I would have told you that the Reds would be 50-41 in first place solely of the NL Central going into the All-Star break, I think everybody would have laughed at me at the beginning of the year. I would have laughed at myself. But a 5-2 week, 4-game sweep of the Nats. Only one place for them to go up for me, and that was up and to 5th.
Yeah, the Reds, like I spoke earlier, as I talked about them at 8. Fantastic team. Just looking up, they've got such young, great talent that Ellie is overlooking guys. Matt McClain, Spencer Steer. Spencer Steer's having a fantastic year.
Yeah.
But Ellie is even better.
Who's your 4th team?
4th team. This is a team, my biggest move of the week. It's the Miami Marlins up at 4. They moved 5 spots from my 9 slot. They've got the 4th best record in the league. I think they're on a 5-game win streak to... no, I take that back. But they've won the last 2 series against St. Louis and then 2 out of 3 against Philly. 4th best record, beating Philadelphia like that, who Philadelphia just swept the Rays. Miami's up there. Miami.
Yeah, this may be a mistake by me. I don't even have Miami in the top 10. I actually had them fall down a spot because they are 5-5 in their last 10, even though they did get the series sweep over the Cardinals and then take 2 of 3 from the Phillies. I just don't believe in their run differential. -5. I think that they're in a good spot where they're at. I just don't think it's a long-term deal.
Right.
And in my 4th spot, I have a team that you had fall down a little further. The Arizona Diamondbacks, 4-6 in their last 10. They did get swept by the Mets. Mets are playing much better over the last couple of weeks, and they have a roster that should be performing better than it has been.
Right.
Still one of the better teams in baseball so far this year, 52-39 after their loss today to the Pirates. They did come back and win 2 of the 3 versus the Pirates. Should have had a sweep. Just couldn't pull it out. I'm going to give them some grace on one bad week. They're staying stagnant in my 4th spot, but they're still a good team, but they haven't played as well as they were just a few weeks ago.
And thank goodness Corbin Carroll was back in the lineup after that scare that looked like he could be out for the rest of the season. The kind of reaction he had. 3, I've got the Baltimore Orioles. They are playing hot baseball right now, coming back. They've won 5 in a row going into the break. They took 2 out of 4 from the Yankees and then swept the Minnesota Twins to end their first half.
And they curb stomped the Twins on Sunday.
What was that score? Do you have that score on Sunday?
Last I saw, it was 15-2, and they were just hitting. Adley Rutschman's hitting home runs 460 feet. I think Santander had a 2-homer game. Unfortunate for them that the All-Star break's here because they're starting to play better baseball again. They are also my 3rd team. The Orioles jumping up 2 spots from 5 last week. They're 6-4 in their last 10, 54-35. They're only 2 games back, I believe, of the Tampa Bay Rays in that division.
That's correct.
And I really wanted to put the Baltimore Orioles up into the 2nd spot. But when you look at the run differential for the Rays and even just holding that 2-game lead still in the division, hard to knock them down. And that is my number 2 team, is the Tampa Bay Rays. They're 3-7 in their last 10. They have not won a series, I believe, since last weekend, maybe even before that. They've lost. They got stomped, like you said, swept by the Phillies. And then also the Braves took them to task. Now, they did come back with a big win, 10-4, I believe, on Sunday versus the Braves. They still have the best run differential in all of baseball. But they're not the number 1 team in my mind, and I think that they could be a little further down, but hard to put them down when they've got the 2nd highest victories in the league at 58.
Yeah, I was with you there about moving Baltimore up, with Baltimore winning 5 in a row. Tampa Bay just, it's like ever since they played Atlanta and got got the snot beat out of them the first 2 games, that they haven't been the same.
Yeah.
I wanted to do the same thing, but again, I couldn't squeeze Baltimore ahead of Tampa Bay just yet. But the team that we're both talking about that have beaten the snot out of, the Atlanta Braves. That run differential is just right there with the Tampa Bay Rays. They're actually 3rd with the run differentials are off by 1. Tampa, Texas, Atlanta, all by one run there. And,
plus 149, plus 148, plus 147.
Right. And Atlanta, it just looks like a team that is unstoppable right now, and they're staying at my number 1.
Yeah, Atlanta Braves, my number 1 as well, the first team to 60 wins. They're 60-29, 31 games above 500, 4-2 in the last week. Only lost to the Indians, and then they lost to the Guardians. There's another dollar to Kangaroo Court. And then they lost again to the Rays on Sunday. But half their team's going to the All-Star game, so I'm just going to chalk it up to half of them were already basically on a plane out to Seattle. That's a long flight. They went from Tampa all the way to Seattle, so they were probably just checked out at that point.
Yeah, for sure. I wonder how long the flight that is. It's from one side of the country to the other, and then the jet lag too.
Oh, for sure. And then they don't have anybody in the home run derby, but they have plenty that will be in the starting lineup on Tuesday, and then they will also have a couple of pitchers in there as well. But that is it for this week's Week 15 Power Rankings. A big shakeup amongst both of our top 10s. Some movers, some droppers. Overall, I think we're in a solid spot. I do think maybe I misranked the Marlins. They could be a little bit higher, but I want to give honorable mentions to the Red Sox, who have won 8 of their last 10. They've won what? I think
5 in a
or
row.
6 in a row. 5 in a
5
row.
in a row.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The Seattle Mariners taking it to the Astros here on the road in Houston. I had Seattle jump up closer to the top 10. Milwaukee Brewers playing better as of late too. So a lot of shakeup for me between that 11 and 20 spot as well. But we only give you the top 10, and you can exclusively only find that here on YouTube.
I think the biggest falling is the Los Angeles Angels. They lose Mike Trout. They've lost 9 of their last 10, and they're currently on a 5-game losing streak. Does not look good for the Angels.
No, it does not. But that has been another update on our power rankings. Week 15, as we now head into the All-Star break. Be on the lookout here on YouTube for more exclusive content through the Home Run Derby, through the All-Star game. We've got baseball kicking back up this weekend. I'll be at the Cubs and Red Sox game on Friday, so hopefully you'll look out for more content there, as well as on our YouTube page. We've got bourbon, we've got baseball, and don't forget to go head on over to our podcast. Overall, we'll have another episode dropping later on this week as we get closer towards the weekend. Again, thanks for watching. Hope you hit the subscribe button below. And Michael, any final words?
Let's go.